Raise don't step my back. Price don't step my back. Yeah. Everybody step my back. Yeah.
Ball Price, the ball carrier.
Yeah.
Tackle for a loss by number 71, Luke Newman.
Welcome into Around the Felt. We have a special episode for you today. Joining us is a multi-time FCS All-American, including a 2023 first-team All-American, a multi-time All-Patriot League first team, and former Patriot League Offensive Lineman of the Year at Holy Cross and new Michigan State Spartan, Luke Newman. Luke, that was a mouthful, man. You have so many accolades. We really appreciate you joining us today. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Very appreciative for having me on, guys.
Awesome, dude. Should be a great time. So let's start it off, man. I know some guys know at an early age they were destined to play offensive line. Some guys hit a growth spurt late and they bulk up and they make the transition. Can you talk about your football journey? Did you always know that you were going to be a guy in the trenches? And when did you realize that you had the talent to play collegiately?
Certainly. So I always kind of had a little bit of a mean streak on me from an early age. Wasn't too common among other third, fourth graders. So I think that was immediately assigned like, hey, this guy's got to go on the offensive line, set the tone every game. And, I was always kind of a bigger kid too. So wasn't much choice to have there. But I've been grateful for, being an offensive lineman ever since. It's certainly not something people want to do at an early age. I personally love it to kind of be the enforcer, during a game every week. It's awesome. And, of course, a lot of people think offensive linemen don't matter. For those who do know football, I think they matter more than any other position on the field, besides quarterback. So it's really been a blessing to, be an offensive lineman and play at a high level up to the stage of my career. And, kind of early on in high school, I didn't picture myself too much as a collegiate lineman. I actually thought I'd just be going to Michigan State for school. It wasn't until going into my senior year of high school that I started to draw a little bit of collegiate attention. Nothing too big. Mostly FCS schools. I was a small guy back then. I was 250, like 6'3", like thought I was a basketball player still. But I actually took one visit out here at Holy Cross. It was one of my two visits I've taken here in Lafayette, another team in the Patriot League. And I didn't feel the need to look much further. Obviously playing for Michigan State out of high school was my dream. It didn't, end up that way, but I'm certainly glad that God put me on this path to have me end up at Holy Cross. And here we are 4 years later, getting ready to join the Spartans.
Now I got to ask you, I also played line back in the day, and I know most linemen, they have a preference. Do you prefer to run block or pass block? Because I've heard a lot from different linemen I've talked to. What's your preference?
Man, that really depends on the game. We were a team that ran a lot of power to the point where it'd be a play called like 25, 30 times a game. So I'd probably have to go run blocking. I think as a pass protector, you're more so a little conservative, I guess you could say at times. You don't want to be too aggressive, but as a run blocker, that all goes out the window. Like you got to be the one that strikes first. You got to be the one that, drives the guy back off the ball. Like it certainly feels more effective when you're a run blocker than a pass blocker. So I would definitely say that run blocking is kind of my go-to.
Yeah, it's nice when you can pull too, and then just go out there and get to the second level, maybe nail linebacker.
Yeah,
pancake him.
That's the one thing I wish we did more here. I didn't do a lot of pulling while I was here at Holy Cross, but I'm a guard now, not a tackle anymore. So I'm excited to be able to pull a little bit now, get out in space.
Absolutely. You actually led right into my next question. So I know you played tackle at Holy Cross, making the transition to guard. And I love that you highlighted earlier how important the offensive line is outside of quarterback. And even more so, positional flexibility amongst the line is more important in today's NFL not NFL, football, than it's ever been. So it's great that you have the ability to play multiple positions. So can you describe the differences for the people listening between playing guard and tackle and then some of the similarities?
Yeah. So as a guard, different to tackle, you kind of get on guys a little quicker. They're kind of more directly right in front of your face. They're not so much space off the ball. And so as a tackle, as a pass protector in particular, you kind of step back for two steps and, it kind of it takes a second for the defensive end to kind of come at you and work a move whereas, you're a guard and working with a D lineman, you just, it's really right off the snap. Like you get hands on the guy and then that's kind of it. But certainly the difference that I'm most looking forward and experiencing is, kind of the differences in sizes of a defensive end versus a D tackle. The defensive ends I've gone against in the FCS were majority of them were a little smaller, like 250, 240, but they were lightning fast, like really quick guys here at this level. You wouldn't come across too many guys who have a lot of size and not so much speed. But of course, playing in the Big Ten, you're going to get a taste of both. So I'm really excited for the challenge to, play guard in the Big Ten, play against some of these big guys. Certainly a handful of good ones to go around in this league. So I'm really excited for the challenge. But some similarities too. The double teams you're kind of working are very similar. Like when you're working with a center as a guard, those double teams are going to be very similar to the ones you work as a tackle with the tight ends. Man, I don't think there's too many similarities now that I'm thinking about it. It's very different. People don't quite understand that, but it is quite a different position, when you're playing down there on the interior.
Absolutely. And you kind of touched on this earlier about you thought you were going to go to Michigan State as a student, but I understand that you had a lot of interest in the portal. Was it always Michigan State all the way if they gave you the call? Just the appeal of returning back, to Michigan State and from your fandom? And more so, what stuck out about the program, the campus, and new head coach Jonathan Smith?
Certainly. So I'd be lying if I was telling you I wasn't looking forward to a text from a Michigan State coach, as soon as I got in the portal. That happened a little later because of the coaching change and kind of the regrouping kind of within the program. But man, as soon as I went in the portal, I was expecting a little more activity than what I got in high school, but it was overwhelming a little bit. I entered the portal at a kind of awkward time. It was right during, finals going into winter break, and those were a little hectic. Like I'd be studying for 2 hours, and then the coach from like Kentucky would be coming to school, or a coach from Wake Forest would be coming to see me at school. And most of these would kind of be like out of the blue, be like, "Hey, Luke, like you around? You got 30 minutes to talk?" I'm like, geez, like it was a little crazy. It was certainly tough to juggle navigating the portal and kind of going on Twitter, answering DMs from coaches or schools that I could see myself at. And obviously getting on the phone with a couple of them each night. It was certainly a lot, but I had to quickly narrow it down a little bit. Michigan State was one of those schools I narrowed it down to. So I took visits to Vanderbilt, Illinois, Purdue, and Michigan State. And I actually took 2 to Michigan State. One was kind of like a little unofficial meet and greet in December. And then I took my official in January when I committed. But really what stuck out to me was really first was Coach M, the offensive line coach. I really liked his philosophy as not only a coach, but really as a teacher, like how he was going to teach me this playbook in a way that I could fully understand it coming into the summer. And then obviously meeting Coach Smith, he was great. I really liked his demeanor and his approach to, not only handling this rebuild, but also through the portal. Like, he made it clear that he wasn't looking to supplement entirely through the portal. The way to sustain great success and a great program is developing your younger guys, but obviously like to supplement again a little bit with the portal just to kind of bridge the gap that some of those younger guys have that might need another year. And I'm lucky enough to come in and kind of be a service for 1 year, and then let these younger guys, these freshmen, sophomores, develop a little more. And I think this program under him is going to sustain a lot of success in the future.
Yeah, so you just talked about the portal a lot in that process. What was it like, the recruiting process? Because obviously it sounds like it was completely different getting all these offers from big schools second time around. And in the beginning, you said you didn't even know if you'd be playing football. You thought you might be playing basketball.
Yeah. So are you talking about the recruiting process, what it was like this, like as a transfer?
Like coming in, like when you were a senior in high school getting looks, like what was that like compared to this process now the second time around?
Oh yeah. A lot of that was so because I didn't get too much attention, a lot of the recruiting I had to do had to be a little self-initiated. Like I had to be the one reaching out to coaches, going out to camps, trying to make myself stick out. I didn't have too much success. I kind of did myself the disservice of going to a lot of big school camps, rather than, some of these FCS schools, kind of on the East Coast, and really shine in those situations. Like, I went to the Northwestern, Michigan, Ohio State camps, and each one I was at, I was kind of put in the group that, wasn't going to be like people didn't think was going to be playing like big time college football, so I was just kind of like, it felt like I was just there wasting my time. And I kind of thought for a while, I was like, is this really worth it? Like, maybe it's not for me. I just don't have the size. But, it took one opportunity from, Holy Cross that they gave me. And, from there, I was able to build myself up, be stronger, be bigger, and, become a lot more athletic, and then be able to compete against some of these teams at a high level. And, I'm really grateful for the investment they made in me. I didn't seem like the typical offensive lineman recruit, but I'm eternally grateful for the chance they gave me. And I would have loved to finish my career at Holy Cross, but I kind of decided towards the end of the year, like, it's time for a change. Like I want to take a step up in my game. And I thought coming to Michigan State under Coach M, and playing some of that elite talent in college football today was I think going to be the most beneficial for my career moving forward.
Yeah, so Luke, I know you were a Sparty fan growing up. So what's it going to mean to you, and what is it going to feel like finally throwing on that Spartan jersey after all those years rooting for him?
Certainly. I mean, obviously it's a lifelong dream. Like I've always wanted to play in the green and white. I've really looked up to these teams early in the 2010s, teams that went to the Cotton Bowl, the Rose Bowls. Like I really love those guys' attitudes and the way they play together as a team. And I'm hoping that coming in this year, I can contribute to some of that culture that has really been missing these last couple of years, and contribute to the success of this team, and hopefully leave an impact and going forward these next couple of years as the Coach Smith era begins. So I mean, it really means a lot. It's going to be something that I won't take lightly. It's going to be an opportunity that every time I'm on the field in the green and white, I give my 100% best. And really just try to be a leader for the younger guys in the team. Being a fifth-year senior, I feel the need to take a little bit of a leadership role, and hopefully I can do that for some guys on this team and just contribute to winning.
Yeah. So obviously, big step up in competition, going from where you were playing in the Patriot League over there to now playing in the Big Ten. What have you been doing to prepare yourself? Because it's going to be a big step up in competition. Is there anything differently you're doing to prepare? Because obviously guys are going to be a lot faster, stronger. It's just, it's Big Ten football. It's one of the Power 5 schools.
Certainly. So I've made a big priority to myself to slim down a little bit this offseason. I'm very grateful that I'm able to use the athletic facilities Holy Cross has while being in the portal and while being a transfer student. So really, week to week, I'd be spending a lot more time on the field, getting more flexible, getting more quick, agile, because, these guys are bigger, and they may be as strong, if not stronger than me, but they're definitely not going to be as quick and as athletic as I am. And that's really what I'm going to pride myself on going into this year, obviously spend time in the weight room as well, working with some of the other transfers here. We have an offensive lineman that's going to Duke as well. There was one we just had, he actually got drafted by the Chiefs. We kind of been working here together while we've all been around, drilling, getting stronger, getting faster, being more conditioned, and really just preparing myself for the summer. And I'm hoping to take that other step, being able to work directly under Coach M, and the strength and conditioning staff at Michigan State.
Well, it sounds like Holy Cross is an offensive line factory, huh?
Yeah, no, if you look at our offensive line this year, it was stacked. I mean,
It sounds like it, man. Oh my goodness. You must have averaged like 8 yards a carry on teams.
oh yeah, I mean, even when we played BC this year, we obviously Michigan State has a matchup with them in September. We gashed them for 250 on the ground. Like
My goodness.
it was a bloodbath. I mean, and we had some talented guys come through. I mean, this year our right tackle now is at James Madison. Our right guard's with the Chiefs. Our center is a fifth year. He's staying here. Our left guard's at Duke, and then obviously me at left tackle coming to Michigan State. I mean, we're we're an FBS level line that, we didn't back down from anybody. We weren't scared of Boston College. We weren't scared of any of the FBS teams we played, and it was certainly a lot of fun being able to work with those guys.
My goodness. Now, I'm curious your thoughts on the college football landscape now. Obviously, the SEC and the Big Ten have kind of become the two mega conferences, where the Big Ten's adding USC, UCLA, Oregon, Washington, like teams from the West Coast. What are your thoughts? Like, these teams moving over in these mega conferences, like it's like week in and week out, you're going to be facing these monster programs.
Yeah, no, certainly the Big Ten schedule has taken a big step up this year. I will say that I never envisioned having a regular season game out of a Midwest team going over to Oregon in October, but I'm really looking forward to that one. That's going to be a lot of fun. And yeah, obviously people talk about maybe the SEC and Big Ten splitting from the NCAA, and maybe a split coming from Power Four and Group of Five. I mean, college football is changing very fast, and I probably won't be around to see what these changes will be in the next couple of years, but I mean, I'm interested to see what happens. Between that and NIL, it's a different world nowadays, and you don't think about that, at the FCS level. Yeah, that's kind of the stuff you don't really pay much attention to. It's really just like playing high school football, honestly, in the FCS. Just kind of the team you'll have in the spring is the same one you'll have, in the fall. The only time the rosters change is when seniors graduate. But I'm seeing a lot of like changes on some of these rosters in the spring, like people going in the portal, switching around again. Like it's a little crazy to me, but I guess that's just how it is now, and it's just something we'll have to get used to.
Yeah. So, what matchups are you most excited for to be a part of as a Spartan?
I mean, certainly those that Michigan D line is a matchup I'm really looking forward to. Watch those college football playoff games, and although I wasn't quite sure where I'd be playing football next year at the time, I couldn't help but think like I kind of want to take a crack at those guys now too. Like, I mean, it's obviously really good players. They're all American. Mason Graham is a heck of a player, and it's certainly going to be a matchup I'm very much looking forward to coming at the Big House this next October, I believe that game is. Yeah, so I'd say that's the big one, and I'm not too familiar with what some of the other D lines in the Big Ten are looking like right now. Obviously looking for a little revenge game at BC, but we'll just take it in week by week and just kind of see how these lines shape up.
Yeah, definitely. So, going off that, how do you think it'll feel playing at Spartan Stadium with the big crowds against some of these blue chip programs, or do you think that's something that you'll just kind of zone out when you're out there on the field playing?
It's certainly gonna be a lot to take in at first, but obviously can't really enjoy the moment for too long. There's going to be a game to win every Saturday, and I'll have to quickly kind of forget like, oh, this has been my dream, like playing in the stadium, and kind of snap back to just kind of getting ready to brawl for 60 minutes and hopefully get a lot of home wins.
Definitely.
Awesome. Have you been in contact with any of the guys throughout the spring while you finished out your school at Holy Cross?
Yeah, I've been talking to some of the guys on the team so far. I've been talking to Gino in particular, although he's in the portal right now. I'm not quite sure what his next step would be. Talked a lot with Ashton Lepo. He's the right tackle. I had a chance to meet and talk with Tanner Miller while I went up there for a Saturday practice as well as a spring game. But certainly I haven't met really everyone yet. There's certainly a lot of names I gotta know, but I'm really looking forward to this summer, getting to know everyone's names, know where they're from, and kind of, build that connection before we hit fall camp.
Awesome. Now, Luke, I know you mentioned earlier that you had a mean streak back when you were in third grade. I'm curious, when you're on the field, does that mean streak contribute to trash talking? When you pancake a guy, are you getting in his grill? Are you talking smack, or are you more of a silent assassin?
No, a little bit. I mean, certainly there are some times where you play some of these Patriot League teams where, we'd be beating up on them pretty badly. And I'm like, do I feel the need to kind of rub some dirt in the wound on this guy, like, and talk a little more trash? Certainly when there's some competitive atmosphere and the game's closed, that's when it really comes out. And, sometimes I take it a little too far. There was there was an instance in my junior year at Fordham where, we're down a touchdown. It was a top 10 matchup in the FCS where, corner's coming off the edge. He jumps up. I throw him down, and then as he's down, I kind of just like pile drive my head right into like his face mask and draw a penalty. And that same play, we score a touchdown. And luckily they said it happened after the play, so it counted. We just had to make a 35-yard extra point, but there are some times where I can let it affect the game a little bit. That's really just the one time I can think of. I think I've learned to better control my anger and play with a little more. Obviously, like the mean streak is still there, but just be a little more under control. Kind of teeter that line of going too far and not going too far. I think I've been doing a better job of that. So
Yeah, I mean, you got to be a little nasty to be a lineman. Come on now.
certainly, yeah.
But yeah, I'm gonna ask you. So I'm sure you've heard NCAA 25's coming out. I don't know if you're a gamer at all, but we are. We're all excited for it. Are you gonna be playing it?
Oh, of course. I was a huge fan of the NCAAs growing up. I actually haven't opted in yet. I think for
That was my next question. Yeah.
for summer transfers, I think it's a thing where excuse me, they opt in a little late, kind of waiting to get the school email. I think that's kind of what you need to opt in. So I think they said there's gonna be like a patch update where summer transfers and summer enrollees come into the game. So I probably won't be in it for its initial launch, but it's very cool to kind of be in a video game. It's not something I thought I'd ever be in, but well, it's certainly pretty cool. And I guess it comes with all the changes with NIL and all that stuff. So I think it'll be a lot of fun to play it.
Yeah. Let's hear your prediction. What overall you think you're gonna be?
I don't think it's going to be too good. Coming from the Patriot League to Big Ten school, I mean, hopefully I crack 70. That'd be good at least. But certainly not going to let a game define kind of how good I think I am as a player. And hopefully they'll throw in a couple updates throughout the year. Hopefully that number will be going up. But if it does, it does.
Hey, extra motivation. If you didn't already have enough, there's some more.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I kind of got a funny one. I was doing a little research, seeing from where you're from, and I saw Joe Dumars and Rip Hamilton are actually from your town. You know those guys, the great Piston legends.
Of course I do. Yeah. That's actually a first for me. I didn't know they're actually from my hometown.
Yeah, so I was looking it up. It said they were. So I was going to ask you if you ever met them. I mean, obviously, I'd imagine you're a big Pistons fan coming from Michigan.
I have sadly. I mean, I am sadly. I'm not liking where that team's at right now, but hopefully luckily there's the Lions kind of carrying the entirety of Detroit sports right now. But no, I can't say that I've met those two guys yet. But if I were them, honestly, I wouldn't want to be too close to the Pistons right now either. So
Yeah, you got the Lions though. So you're Detroit through and through for all the sports teams.
oh yeah.
Yeah, you got the Lions, and the Tigers aren't bad.
No, Tigers aren't bad. Wings aren't bad. It's really just the Pistons that are kind of putting a stain on Detroit sports right now. But hopefully they'll turn around soon. We'll see.
Yeah, definitely. So I think that's about all we have for us, Colin. You want to wrap it up?
Yeah, I mean, just want to thank you once again, Luke, for hopping on. This was a ton of fun, dude. Gave us a lot of insight. It's always nice chopping it up with a guy that does it dirty in the trenches. Not all of us could do that. Reagan, you could, but not all of us were built to be in the trenches.
Yeah, Luke. I was the last time I was a lineman, it was our freshman center at 5'2", 130. So
Wow.
can't say I was very dominant.
My center, forever and always, Reagan.
I mean, you got to be pretty gritty to be that size and play down there in the trenches. That's not easy to do.
Yeah, no, it definitely you don't get a lot of luster there. Definitely didn't get the love from everybody when I was getting bulldozed down. But it's fun times. I have an appreciation for you linemen out there.
Appreciate that. Yeah, no, not too many people really respect what O-linemen do, but hopefully that's going to change one day.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for joining us today, Luke. I appreciate it a lot, brother.
Of course. Thank you guys for having me on. Really appreciate it.
100%.